let's get down to the bantamweights, 135ers. Number one bantamweight in the world, 19-1, UFC champion, Dominic Cruz. He's on recuperating from knee surgery. Hopefully we see him sooner rather than later, but I'm thinking summer 2013. Maybe April if we're lucky. August, I'd say at the latest for Dominic Cruz's return. Maybe even September. I'd say September at the latest, yeah. Dominic Cruz, yeah. September at the latest for his return. April at the earliest. In that range.
A 2-year gone. Like, wow.
Yeah, he beat Demetrius Johnson on October 1st, but, he's supposed to fight Faber earlier this year, and he had to pull out due to injury. I don't see him coming back. Yeah. I mean, it's a serious knee injury that he's had. So, and the UFC is already talking about Hernan Barao, who beat Uriah Faber for that interim title. Hernan Barao, 29-1. The UFC is already talking about him fighting Michael McDonald and defending that interim title. When Barao won the title, he was saying, well, I'm going to wait for Dominic Cruz. But maybe Dominic Cruz taking longer than UFC expecting, and UFC wants this guy to fight, so it looks like we'll see Barao versus McDonald at some point, which I think is phenomenal. As Michael McDonald, we have ranked at number 5 in the world. But before we get to number 5, we get to number 3. Uriah Faber, 26-6. He'll fight Vaughn Lee on February 2nd at UFC 156. Should be a good fight there. At number 4, 10-2 Brian Bowles. He hasn't fought since his November 2011 loss to Uriah Faber. So it's been over a year since Brian Bowles has fought, and still no next fight scheduled for Bowles. At number 5 in the world, Michael McDonald, 15-1, knocked out Miguel Torres in April, and there is a strong rumor that he'll fight Hernan Barao next for that UFC interim title. At number 6 on the planet, 22-6, Brad Pickett. He'll take on Eddie Wineland on the 29th of December. That should be a great fight. At number 7 in the world, Ivan Menjivar, coming off a submission victory over Azamat Gashimov on November 17th of this year at UFC 154. I don't think the win really bumps Ivan up. Azamat was an unranked guy making his UFC debut that I think was really outmatched by Ivan Menjivar, so Menjivar remains at number 7 this month. At number 8, Scotty Young Guns Jurgensen, 13 wins, 6 losses. He'll take on John Albert on December the 8th at UFC on Fox 5. At number 9, Eddie Wineland, 19 wins, 8 losses. He'll face Brad Pickett on December 29th. That should be fantastic. Wineland Pickett. And at number 10, 12 wins, 3 losses, Bibiano Fernandez, the Dream Bantamweight champion. Maybe we'll see him at the end of the month as a Dream set to do a big New Year's show in Japan. Hopefully we see Bibiano on that card. And honorable mentions going out to Antonio Banuelos, Yves the Tiger Jabouin, Mike Easton, Takeya Mizugaki, Chris Carriasso, or rather, let me scratch Chris Carriasso from that list. I don't know why he's still up there. Chris Carriasso is a flyweight. So Takeya Mizugaki, TJ Dillashaw, and Tyson Nam. We go to the final weight class to get to here, the flyweights. And this is actually the only division where there was any kind of movement this month. The only movement in our top 10 rankings from, when we did it at the beginning of November, now to December. Flyweights, the only movement this month. Of course, no movement at the top of the division. Number 1, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. He is 12-2. He is the number 1 flyweight fighter in the world, the first ever UFC flyweight champ. He'll fight John Dodson on January 26th at UFC on Fox 6 in the main event to make his first defense. At number 2 in the world, 16-3, Joseph Benavidez. At number 3, Ian McCall, 11-3. Both Benavidez and McCall still yet to have their next fight scheduled. Both coming off losses to Demetrius Johnson. Chris Carriasso, there he is, in at number 4, 14-3. He'll fight John Moraga on December 29th at UFC 155. At number 5 in the world, he's the new number 1 contender at flyweight, 13 wins, 5 losses, the Magician, John Dodson. He'll take on Demetrius Johnson on January 26th. At number 6 in the world, Luis Gaudino, 6-2. At number 7 in the world, John Lineker. Lineker coming in was number 10 last month and bumps up to number 7, bumping Darren Uyenoyama back to number 8, as Uyenoyama was ranked 7 last month, as Lineker picked up a big win, beating Yasuhiro Urashitani this month. on November 10th at UFC on Fuel 6 in Macau. So with that win, Lineker at number 10 beat the number 8 guy, so he moves up to number 7. At number 8, we have Darren Uyenoyama, 8-3. At number 9, Jussier da Silva Formiga, 14 wins, 2 losses. And at number 10, John Moraga. Moraga steps in and bumps Yasuhiro Yoshitani right out of the top 10 list. As Yoshitani was ranked at number 8 last month, he is bumped out now. And Moraga steps in at number 10. Uyenoyama steps in at 8, and Formiga remains at number 9. So Moraga enters the top 10 list as an honorable mention last month. He is 11-1. He knocked out Ulysses Gomez on August the 4th at UFC on Fox 4, and he'll take on number 4 ranked Chris Carriasso later this month, or later in December on the 29th. Honorable mentions going out to Yasuhiro Yoshitani, Tim Elliott, Josh Ferguson, Phil Harris, and Ulysses Gomez. So those are the top 10 rankings in MMA from top to bottom, from the heavyweights all the way down to the flyweights.